Hey, what is going on, guys? DK. Back at you with another video here to bring the 9-game NBA main slate on Friday. Before I get in the video, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. If you're unable to watch these videos, I also upload on Apple Podcasts. Link down below. It is called the DK DFS Show. And if you're interested in signing up for premium content, now is the perfect time. Beginning of the month, I offer an NBA and NFL package where we cover the main and the showdown slates. The sponsor of the video is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a player prop site where you can pick 2 to 5 players and win up to 10x your money. So the NBA board, not up right now, but for example, they have college basketball. So like you can take over-under on either fantasy points or over-under on straight-up points, rebounds, assists. You can mix and match sports. They have first half contests for NFL, PGA, tennis, esports. So if you guys want to try out PrizePicks, make sure to sign up and use my code DKDFS, DKDFS, all one word, and you get a 100% match up to $100. And then if you guys do enjoy all the content on YouTube, the videos, and the live streams, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Appreciate all you guys coming and checking out the live streams the last few days. Okay, so before we get into players and the prices for the 9-game slate, let's look back and line up here from tonight. Okay, so we'll start off with Cleveland and Washington. And at the top, we have Jared Allen, 8.1K. I mean, he's just playing a lot of minutes right now. 31 last game. That was a blowout. Still for 44 fantasy points. We're going to get like 35 to 38 minutes from Allen here. And he should be able to have his way against the undersized front court of Gafford and Montrezl Harrell. So I think he's a really, really safe play with upside. Darius Garland, 7.2. Well, the positive is the amount of minutes he's going to play. He's going to play mid-30s minutes. Production's been a little bit more up and down, but we've seen a ceiling from him. So fair price point for Garland. I think a relatively safe play because of the amount of minutes he will get. Mobley at 6.7 has had a pretty big game last game, 4 blocks, 1 steal. I think Jarrett Allen probably has a little bit of a higher floor than Evan Mobley, but you also have Mobley coming in at, what, $1,400 cheaper. So I do have interest in both bigs, and I think Allen a little bit safer, but Mobley does have similar upside, and he is $1,400 cheaper. Rubio, 5.9. I think he's come down to a playable price now. He was kind of a little bit out of play when he was close to 7K. Now sub 6K feels like a decent price for him again. I think we get 25 to 30 minutes. He's a guy who can stuff his stat sheet. Obviously, he'll be handling the ball a ton when he's out there, so he can do the peripheral stats. So I do have some interest in Rubio. Markkanen, 5.8, had a really bad game last game, but normally a guy is probably going to get you like mid-20s fancy points. And then Love had a really big game off the bench in 21 minutes, went for 42 fancy points. Kind of an outlier game. Normally he's probably going to get you mid-20s. I don't think I'm going to touch the other value here in Cleveland. Okoro, 3.9. Just too low of a floor for me to consider him. Okay, moving on to Washington. So Washington's a team, when they're fully healthy, it's always a boring team for me. Like Beal's always a little bit overpriced. Kuzma and Dinwiddie feel priced about right to me. Harrell, Gaff are going to split the center minutes. They both have upside. They both had a big game last game. Kind of an outlier for both of them to get there. Gafford played 27, Harrell played 21. If Gafford can stay out of foul trouble, he's a good point per minute guy. He's gone for 30 plus now the last 4 games. However, if he's going to be popular tomorrow, I'm perfectly fine fading because there's probably above a 50% chance he does get in foul trouble. KCP is always a guy that if there's not a lot of value it opens up, you can consider because he'll probably get 25 to 30 minutes. He's pretty score independent, but I think he's playable. Again, if not a lot of value, other value opens up. All right, Miami and the Pacers. So I'm still tilting about this. Like 15% Lowry last slate, 20% Hero without Jimmy and Bam. Massive blowout. But yeah, now the ownership's probably going to go way up in these guys without Jimmy and Bam. These are going to be the 2 highest usage guys. Lowry, I don't really care about last game. I'm just forget about it. He's going to have very high usage. Going to be handling the ball a ton. So I think he's one of the better plays in the mid-range. Also, Tyler Hero, 7.5K. Should play big minutes. Going to get a ton of shot attempts up. So both Hero and Lowry look really good to me. And Dedmon at 4.8, I mean, this is a big front court. So if he can stay out of foul trouble, he's probably going to have to play all the minutes he can handle. Now, can he stay out of foul trouble, right? Because I've played him a few times this year as value, and he's gotten massive foul trouble. So that's a concern with Dedmon. The prices come up now to a point where, like, if he gets in early foul trouble, it's definitely going to hurt you. Like, if he was 3.1K, it really wouldn't even matter. But since now he's almost 5K, there is more risk with Dedmon. Again, though, I do think he probably plays 30-ish minutes if he can stay out of foul trouble. And if he can, I think he's a really good value. Duncan Robinson has shot a combined, 1 of 16 last couple of slates. So he'll be probably pretty low owned. If you want to go there for tournaments, you can just know the floor is 2 fantasy points, as he put up 2 fantasy points in 20 minutes last game. And then you have this like combo of value, like Gabe Vincent, Max Struss, PJ Tucker, Caleb Martin. I think all look pretty decent. Like, I think all these guys probably play at least 20 minutes. There's no standout play from these 4, but I think all these guys are all guys you can consider for salary relief. And then, Yurt Goat unfortunately didn't play until garbage time, so they might go like PJ Tucker as the backup 5. All right, on the Pacers. So, Sabonis, 9.6. I mean, he's playing big minutes right now, but like the price is to a point where it doesn't really stand out. Brogdon's price has also come up too. I've been all over him the last couple weeks. It feels about right now for both those guys. Maybe a little bit overpriced for Sabonis. Turner at 6K does have a ceiling, but also has a pretty low floor. LeVert's been really bad last few games. He's 5.7K. Again, fine for tournaments, but we've seen the floor. No McConnell, no Holiday, so Duarte probably has to play big minutes here. He's only 4.4K, and he played 35 minutes last game, so I think he's a pretty good value. I mean, like, some guys will get some run off the bench. Jeremy Lamb, remember, going to put up 44 fantasy points in 16 minutes. Wanamaker probably gets the backup point guard duty with TJ McConnell out. Keelan Martin should see some minutes, but like I don't know if like any of these guys are really viable. Like Torrey Craig, O'Shea Brissett might see the floor, but I just don't think it's necessary to go to any of those Pacers value guys unless something happens. One of the other top guys sits out. All right, moving on to Philadelphia and Atlanta. So Joel Embiid, 10.5K, has been pretty disappointing this year. He shot 3 of 17 last game. This is insane. 3 of 17, and he still put up 56 fantasy points. That is crazy. He's probably going to play mid-30s minutes here. I don't think he'll be super popular, but I like some Embiid for tournaments. Tobias feels priced about right. Same with Maxey. I mean, they're both going to play big minutes, but they don't really stand out. I mean, Maxey had an awful game last game, 3 of 13 shooting. But other than that, he's been pretty consistent this year. The value for the 76ers, like his team is getting healthy, so there's no one that really stands out. You can always play Seth Curry and hope he gets hot behind the three-point line, but again, very, very reliant on scoring. So not a ton else I love here for Philadelphia. Moving on to Atlanta, Trae Young, 10.2K. Never someone I really consider for cash games, but he's going to play mid-30s minutes. He does have a ceiling, so like him here for GPPs. Capella is going to have to play big minutes against Embiid, but do I want to play Capella against Embiid? Not the best spot here for Clint Capella. John Collins at 7K. Probably do prefer him to Capella, but like 7K, that seems priced about right. Draftkings did a pretty good job in pricing the slate. They're out. Atlanta has a few guys missing, but Donovich, Hunter, Radish is questionable. Herter's probably going to start and play mid-30s minutes, but like again, his price has now come up. He's not going to do a ton of the peripheral stats, so again, low floor if he's not hitting his shots. Gallinari, I think, would look okay if there's no Reddish. He played 29 minutes last game. I would think he gets at least 20 minutes, so we'll consider him for value. And then, again, if Reddish is out, we'll probably like Lou Williams, TLC, DeLon Wright see some minutes. TLC started last game. He's only 3.2K. Like, he's playable. Again, though, a super, super low usage guy. Minnesota and Brooklyn. So the big news here is Karl Anthony Towns is questionable. And it's pretty significant. Now, I do think he plays, but if he can't go, my guess is Naz Reid would start and then become probably the top value in the slate at 3.3K. You would also probably see some Jared Vanderbilt at the 5 minutes. He's 4.8K. He's done a pretty good job of staying out of foul trouble this year. So those two probably get the biggest boost if Cat is out. And then you get a usage bump, obviously, for D'Angelo Russell and Ant-Man. Now, the prices come way up on D'Angelo Russell, but he's also playing massive minutes. He shot 3 of 18 last game and stole for 30-plus fantasy points. So, like, I would be fine paying up for one of these Minnesota guys if Karl Anthony Towns is out. If Cat is in, then they all feel a little bit overpriced. That being Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and D'Angelo Russell. Pat Beverly's still out. Malik Beasley at 4.3K. We'd probably see mid-20s minutes from him. Again, though, kind of reliant on the scoring, so the floor is still low. Torian Prince will see run, but I just don't think I can stomach that. Again, Balmaro's been seeing minutes. It's pretty gross. So Okogie also getting some minutes. He's mid-price, but I don't think I can go to any of those guys. Moving on to Brooklyn. So Harden, KD, both 11K plus. I think they're both secondary options for me. I do like the spot for both. Harden's played 40 minutes in back-to-back games. That's pretty good to see. He's starting to turn it on a bit of late. Double-digit assists now in 3 of the last 4 games. Kevin Durant, 11-4. Again, the ceiling is there. I probably would have a lean now to Harden over Kevin Durant, but neither are priority plays for me. Aldridge going up against a big front court, we probably see around 30 minutes from him, but this price is about right. Patty Mills at 4.8K is going to see big minutes, but it's also pretty reliant on scoring, and his prices come up. And I just don't know if I trust the bench rotation here of the secondary options of Bembry. Bruce Brown's barely played last couple games. James Johnson, I guess, would be the guy I would take a shot on because he's the cheapest at 3.4. But again, I just have no confidence in his minutes. Orlando and Houston. So 2 bad teams going up against each other. Definitely an appealing spot for both teams. Cole Anthony, price above 8K, but I think I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine paying for it because of the matchup. And he's, again, going to play massive minutes. He has triple-double upside. So I like Cole Anthony even at 8.2. Carter Jr. at 6.5K feels pretty close to right. I think he's a fine option, but not a priority. Mo Bamba does have a ceiling if he can stay out of foul trouble. But again, he's been a little bit up and down. Franz Wagner's been playing really well of late, but his price has come up to almost 6K now. So I don't know if I want to pay almost 6K for him. I'll mention Gary Harris because he's playing big minutes, but it's also Gary Harris. So if not a lot of other value opens up, then sure, you can play him. Another guy that is pretty reliant on the scoring. And then, Terrence Ross, 3.1, probably plays low 20s minutes. He's viable for large field tournaments. Again, though, pretty low floor. Moving on to Houston. So a couple of big pieces of news to keep an eye on, Wood and KPJ. Now, Wood is probable. KPJ is questionable. Both did not return last game. If you play either of those guys, I feel for you awful, awful luck. So I'll start with Christian Wood at 9.3. Assuming there's no limitations, I don't think there will be. I think he plays 35-plus minutes in a great spot. So the price is up. That might scare some people away, but I think he's a good GPP play. Again, I do think he should be able to have his way against that Magic front court. KPJ, if he plays, another guy that I'd be fine paying the price for. He's really been playing well last few games. And stuff from the stat sheet. So monitor the status there. Now, Kevin Porter Jr. is out. We'll see what they do with the starting lineup. Maybe Armani Brooks moves in the starting lineup. He's only 3.4K, so I think he would be potential value there. Jae'Sean Tate had a massive game last game because KPJ and Wood were out. I've played Jae'Sean Tate a lot this year, and of course I didn't have him last slate where he went for 70. Now the ownership probably jumps after the last big game, and we do have Wood coming back, possibly KPJ back too. So I'm still fine playing Jae'Sean Tate, but if both Wood and Kevin Porter Jr. are back, then he's more of a secondary option. Eric Gordon should see 30-plus minutes, but he's reliant on scoring. Still has a low floor. Garrison Matthews, another guy that is pretty score independent, but has seen big minutes recently. The bench, probably nothing for me here. Christopher at 3.2 finally saw some rotation minutes, but that was with Kevin Porter Jr. out. All right, Pelicans and Mavs. So this game was a massive blowout yesterday. Assuming the game can stay competitive, I do think there's some interesting plays here. So Jonas Valanciunas, after the massive 70 fantasy point game, comes out and lays an egg, 14 fantasy points in 25 minutes. Not super worried about it. I do like targeting bigs against Dallas. Now the price is the worry here, 9.4. It doesn't really stand out. I still think you can have a good game at that price, but definitely not a priority play. Brandon Ingram, the positive here is just the minutes, right? There's been a lot of blowouts here recently for the Pelicans, but I think he gets around 38 minutes in competitive game. I'm not super scared of Dallas in the defensive end. He put up in 31 minutes, he put up 36 fantasy points in a blowout. So I like some Brandon Ingram. Interesting that they have him listed as a shooting guard only. Josh Hart 5.5. Keep an eye on this. He did not play last game. If he does play, a pretty decent play in the mid-range. Got some stuff in the stat sheet. If he's out, they started Garrett Temple. He played 22 minutes, probably would have played a little bit more if the game would have stayed competitive. So Temple could be potential value at only 3.3. It's gross value, though. Herbert Jones, in a competitive game, probably sees over 30 minutes. I think another decent value. He has center eligibility for some reason. I have no idea why. And then the two guards here. Graham, I think, looks pretty good, especially if there's no Josh Hart. I think he plays over 30 in a competitive game. So would like some Devontae Graham there, 4.7. NAW off the bench would probably see low to mid-20s minutes. Fair play, but I think the minutes upside is a little bit higher in Graham if Josh Hart can't go. On the Dallas side, so Porzingis is questionable. I expect him to play. It was an ankle sprain on Wednesday. I guess this is now a knee issue. So maybe it's a different thing. I thought this was the same injury he had last game where he played through. So keep an eye on Porzingis news. Either way, like if he's out, it doesn't really give a usage bump to Luka. But I still think Luka would look good 11-8, like either if Porzingis plays or not. It's a great matchup. He was on pace for a massive game last game, and it was a blowout. So would like Luka either way. Porzingis, if he plays, viable for tournaments, but this guy's just always hurt. Hardaway, you know the deal by now. He's going to play probably 30 minutes. He has to hit his shots to get value. Brunson, if there's no Porzingis, would look like a pretty good player, 4.9K. Would probably push for 30 minutes. Would like some Brunson. And then Kleba would probably get a pretty big minutes bump too if Porzingis is out. So those two would look pretty good. Keep an eye on Porzingis. Dorian Finney-Smith, 4K, another one that we know the drill by now with this guy. He's going to play around 30 minutes in a competitive game. He's probably going to get you 15 to 25 fancy points. Fine value. As far as the center rotation, I have no idea what he's going to do. I have no idea. Like Moses Brown has started last couple games, but barely played. Like they have Powell, they have Boban. Who knows what Jason Kidd's going to do here? Now, if Porzingis does get ruled out, then it'll be a little more interesting because then that's a lot of minutes for that big rotation out the window. And yeah, Cauley-Stein is out, so like maybe Boban season. I know he only played in the blowout, but like I don't know. We'll see. So Kleba and Brunson would be the guys I'd be confident get the bump without Porzingis, but maybe one of those centers become playable if Porzingis is out. All right, Boston, Utah. So tough matchup here, but we do have pretty big news. Jaylen Brown is out. So that's a pretty big boost to Jason Tatum. Now, he is above 10K, and this is Utah, but I still think he's a decent option for the amount of minutes he's going to play, for the amount of shot attempts he's going to get. He's probably going to get double-digit rebounds, too. So still like some Tatum there without Jaylen Brown. Horford at 6.8K, I think probably plays around 30 minutes. Fair play, but again, I don't love the matchup here. Smart and Schroeder do get a usage bump without Jaylen Brown. I think both are secondary options for me. Robert Williams, 5'2". They kind of took it easy on his minutes in his first game back. Monitor to see if there's a limit for him. Ennis Freedom now has been getting some backup 5 run, but I feel like if they extend Robert Williams a bit, that's going to hurt Freedom. So don't think I can go there unless we get news that Robert Williams is going to be limited once again. On the Utah side, Donovan Mitchell, 8.8K. Feels like a pretty good price for him. The price jumped to $700. He still has upside. He's been a little bit up and down this season, but back-to-back 45-plus fantasy point games for him. Gobert, 8.6. Sure, like he's definitely viable. And then we have Royce O'Neal healthy, so like kind of takes Gay and Ingles out of play. And then like the rest of the Jazz are just so boring. Conley, Clarkson, Bogdanovich, O'Neal. You can even still consider Gay and Ingles, even with O'Neal back, are all secondary plays for me. Now, I will mention Whiteside's only 3.3. He's probably going to play about 15 minutes on the bench and be super productive. I don't hate playing him for value. Like, he can go get you 20 fancy points in 15 minutes. So, a little bit interested in Whiteside because of the price. Phoenix and Golden State. So, this one should be a good one. Now, we have Booker out for at least a couple more games. So, Chris Paul, 8.4, I think makes for one of the better spin-ups in the slate. They kind of took it easy on his minutes tonight, but I think that's why, because they're going to need to extend him for this game against Golden State tomorrow. So, I do like Chris Paul a lot here at that price without Devin Booker. DeAndre Ayton, he played 34 minutes against Golden State. I think he makes for a pretty good play. And then Bridges, Crowder don't really get a boost at their respective price points. The guys that get the boost with Booker out are Cam Johnson, Shamet, and Cam Payne. Now, they started Shamet. Let's see. I don't think they have the box scores up yet, but I think he was like playing mid-20s minutes. Not a high usage guy, but is only 4K. Cam Johnson, A little bit better of a point per minute guy than Shamet. I think he probably plays mid to high 20s minutes in this one. And then Campaign, I would think, gets at least 20 minutes. So those three, I think, make for pretty good value plays. McGee, I will mention, only played 8 minutes against Golden State because of the small ball. So, I don't think he gets a ton of run in this game. And that is really it for the Suns. So I'm going to Golden State and Steph Curry. One of his worst games I've seen. 4 of 21 shooting, 23 fantasy points. It should make his ownership very low on the slate. Again, you could always play Steph in tournaments, but this is the floor, right? If he's not hitting his shots, he still has a very, very low floor. So never really someone to consider in cash games unless he's super cheap. The secondary options here, so if you think Steph struggles again, you can go to Jordan Poole, who had a massive game last game. This guy does have upside, but most of the time, he's going to take a backseat to Steph Curry. Draymond Green above 7K, feels a little bit pricey. Wiggins at 6'6". He's been getting consistent minutes, but the price is right for me. Now, Iguodala is still out, but we do have Damian Lee coming back, so possibly that's going to be one more body, this Steve Kerr big rotation. Now, Otto Porter Jr. is a guy all year I've been hammering home about. This guy should be getting more minutes. He's a better player. Why are we playing Dusty Iguodala and some of these other guys over Otto Porter? And we're finally seeing it. 40 and 31 fantasy points last couple games for Otto Porter. He's a good player. He should be definitely in this rotation, averaging 25 minutes a game, in my opinion. Now, the price is coming up, and Damian Lee is back, so you just can never fully trust Steve Kerr. But I think Porter is still viable here, a guy that does have upside, a good point per minute guy. The rest of Golden State, especially with Damian Lee back, I just can't do it. Looney, Bielitsa, JTA, they've been playing Chris Chiozza a decent amount of minutes for some reason. I have no idea why. Gary Payton's still getting a little bit of run. I hate this rotation. There are guys you have to consider more on a small slate and a 9-game slate. I'm not doing it. I don't want you guys to do it either. Just don't deal with that pain. Don't do it. All right, Clippers and Lakers. So Clippers really tilted me last, getting blown out by the Kings. But Paul George is now back. He's 10.3. It is a good matchup, but he hasn't gone for 50 plus fantasy points in almost 2 weeks now. Now, the upside is still there, and again, this is a really good spot. So I still have some interest in Paul George. I'm curious what his ownership is going to be. I don't think it'll be super high because of the price. The secondary options here, Reggie's always viable. He's probably the secondary option that has the most upside if he can hit his shots, but we've seen a low floor from him as well. Bledsoe at 5'3", feels a little bit overpriced. This combination of Mann, Morris, and Kennard are all playable secondary options. Zubac in a revenge game spot going up against a big front court. Probably plays low 20s minutes. Again, it doesn't really stand out. Ibaka's getting some backup run. Hartenstein as well. They're both super cheap against a big Lakers front court. I think they're viable large field tournament plays. But yeah, the Clippers as a whole, pretty unappealing. And finally, the LA Lakers. So another team that doesn't really look that great, assuming that AD plays. Now, AD is questionable. He's basically been playing every single slate, though, so I expect him to play. LeBron is probable, so he should be back. Westbrook, again, I'm still tilting that game without LeBron James. Just really, dude. If all the three of the Lakers' big three are playing, none of them really stand out. THT would be overpriced. The one guy I will mention, he's going to start it at 3.6, is Dwight Howard. Now, Dwight Howard's a good point per minute guy. He played 35 minutes last game. I don't think that happens again, but what I think happens for Dwight is we probably get around 15 minutes, maybe 20. It's not the Clippers can definitely go small too. So, but he's cheap and he's a good point per minute guy. So I do have some interest in Dwight. Probably my favorite play in the Lakers. Other than that, there's really not much. Now, if Anthony Davis is out, then that changes everything, right? Then Westbrook and LeBron make for pretty decent spend ups. Then THT becomes way more in play. Then Dwight looks really good. Then DeAndre Jordan becomes in play too. So that would change a lot, but I would think that Anthony Davis does play tomorrow. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for the video today. If you have been enjoying the content, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And let's hope for no random blowouts, no ejections, no injuries, none of that. Please, tomorrow, none of that. It's Friday. Please. All right. Thanks, guys, and I will see you all in the next video.